We'll start with a tragic but quick accident and end with extremely prolonged suffering. These are the worst cave deaths of all time. As always, viewer discretion is advised. Caves are hauntingly beautiful. Dark, damp, mysterious, and sometimes deadly. And few are more infamous than the Wabasha Street Caves, located on the south shore of the Mississippi River. Especially known for their use in the Prohibition era, when they became a speakeasy frequented by gangsters like Ma Barker and John Dillinger. Sounds like a cool place to explore. Well, you're not the first guy to try. Or die trying. The Wabasha Caves have claimed plenty of lives since the 1920s thanks to everyone's favorite subtle killer. Yay! You see, carbon monoxide has no smell, no color, so you can breathe it in without noticing. A little bit of it isn't too bad, but when you breathe in enough, it gets in your blood. Once inside, it replaces the oxygen in your blood cells, and when there's enough of it,
I can get into your brain and your heart and your lungs, and you don't even know until it's too late.
Carbon monoxide's created everywhere, where anything carbon-based is not burned completely. That means that running a grill or your car's engine or literally anything that burns inside an area that's not well ventilated can absolutely get you killed before you know it. And back in the Great Depression, a lot of people would often go into caves and light fires there. The flames would burn, keeping the occasional hobo, couple, or a group of weirdos warm for the night. But the smoke would literally have nowhere to go. And when there's lots of smoke,
there's me!
You'd think people would have more sense than to try that, especially since the authorities kept warning people against it. But I guess people can't get enough of that sweet, deathly, choky goodness, as groups of people have been dying from it since 1992.
Except that's not what happened. When they found Danny Fries and Jill Huntington dead in 1992, no fires had been lit. Turns out carbon monoxide doesn't go away.
No, I don't.
If there's nowhere for it to go, it just stays. Like a little invisible death cloud. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You stick around.
Forever.
The latest series of deaths in the caves happened in 2004, when a group of 4 teenagers entered the caves only to find a tragic surprise. Being underage, their names were never revealed, so try to put yourself in their shoes. Imagine that you and 3 other friends have just entered the caves. There are tons of passages into the cave systems in the county, some so obscure some people don't even know they're there. You've explored parts of the cave, and they look safe enough, so you decide to push deeper. You follow a path you've never gone through before. It's a tight fit, but it soon opens up into a section of the caverns you'd never seen before. It's a wide open area, built across millennia of gradual buildup. You take in the sight of the sediment, tracing its history across millions of years. You're feeling a little lightheaded, but maybe it's just the exertion, so you sit down. Your friends do too. Your conversation, which started lively, is slowing down, drifting into nonsense, then silence. You realize it's getting harder to focus, and in your haze, you see that your friends have gone to sleep. But it's not the right kind of sleep. They're quiet. Too quiet. Your brain switches into panic mode. Confused. You fumble, stumble, crawl your way up the squeeze to the outside. You don't know what's going on, but you know you need help. Crawling into the night air, you breathe in big lungfuls. They help clear your mind a little, but the choking, foggy feeling in your brain's still there. You let your feet take you out of the woods, to the street, into town. Somehow you stumble into the police department and call for help. Your speech is slurred, but the officers know you, and they know the signs. They've seen them before.
Hey, did you go in the caves? Did you go in the caves?
You manage to nod and mumble a description of the entrance.
Get the EMTs! Go, go, go!
You're sped to the hospital. Thanks to the doctor's help, you cling to life, but only barely. The same can't be said for your friends. The rescue team did their best, but it was already too late. The entrance to the cave is sealed off soon after, but it's not the last, and the county knows it. The sandstone caves, filled with their invisible poison payload, exit all over the area. Sooner or later, they'll claim another victim. Now, these deaths were tragic, but at least they were painless. Unlike this next case, where the cavers suffered for half a day. Caving is dangerous enough as it is. Caving underwater is a whole other beast, especially when you do it inside freezing Arctic waters. You see, this incident takes place in the Pluragrada cave system in Norway, which is the deepest and arguably most dangerous cave system in northern Europe. And during most of its history, exploring this cave system was impossible, as the flow of water was just too intense. That all changed in 1960 when a dam was built that reduced the water flow in the caves. Even so, the Pluragrada cave system was once deemed too dangerous to explore or even dive in.
For about 2 months in 2014, the place is still popular. They even have weddings there.
How do you keep getting in here?
The caves are super popular thanks to their extremely clear waters and the fact that they run under a good chunk of Norway and Finland. Exploring them is such a big deal that Norwegian and Finnish cave divers have been beefing over it for years. Chunks of the cave system have been mapped out, but not entirely. Parts of the cave system are still considered too dangerous for diving. Oh, hey, is that a hose?
Very few people have died inside the Pluragrada, as most of them are either professional or seasoned divers. But sometimes, things can go so wrong, all the experience in the world wouldn't save you. So, imagine this. It's 2014. You and a couple of friends have been prepping for the dive into the Pluragrada for years, and you're led by 4 divers that really know what they're doing. Just to be sure, 2 of them have also gone pretty deep into the Pluragrada, and you think, what the hell, let's go even further, how hard can it be? The journey's only 2 kilometers through a path that's been thoroughly explored. The water's a crisp 2 degrees Celsius, and it's crystal clear. It's going to be a quick trip, in and out in 5 hours. For extra protection, the divers decide to split into 2 groups that'll go through within 2 hours each of each other, just to make sure there are no disturbances. Everything is safe and neat and professional. Nothing can go wrong. And then it does. You take a moment to admire the beauty of the caves, shaped by millions of years of water flow and languid geological movement. You're 110 meters under the earth, and you notice that 2 of the divers ahead of you are having trouble. One has had his underwater scooter stuck into a passage. The other's trying to help him, so he yanks the scooter out. That does the trick, but then the second diver begins to panic. Something's wrong with his scuba tank line. He tries to get some oxygen from the scooter's bailout, then his rebreather. Nothing works. He's drowning. The other diver panics and places the scooter's regulator over the diver's mouth. He presses the purge button, which is used to blow a blast of air to clear the water out of the oxygen line, thinking this'll help. All it does is shoot a bunch of water into the other diver's lungs. You watch it in horror as the diver chokes to death in front of you, his lifeless body drifting against the rocks until it blocks the passage. The same passage you would take to get out. The passage the second group would take later. You and the other diver can't rush for the surface. If you do that, decompression sickness from coming up so fast would kill you. Your only choice is to head to the Steinoga Flaget Cave, and thankfully your group has enough air.
No, they don't. Some of the divers had bailout cylinders, but one of them gotten stuck in a passageway, so he had to drop them. And then he saw the body of the dead diver. Oh, my face!
Panicking in a cave is bad enough. Panicking in a cave underwater is a death sentence. You see, when you panic, you begin to hyperventilate. But when you have a rebreather, hyperventilating means you take in more oxygen than the tank can feed you and feeding back more carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide isn't so bad in small batches. It's in the air all around us anyway, but in a tiny controlled environment like in this case, CO2 has nowhere to go except your lungs and blood. That means dizziness, headaches, and an elevated heart rate, which just compounds your panic more and more, making you draw more oxygen. Before you know it, you're choking on your own breath. And if you're somewhere you can't get help or any air, well, you're as good as gone. The second diver died out of sight of the rest of his group, pushing up through the cold waters toward the exit, racing against time and their dwindling air supply. You and the surviving divers push yourselves up into the cold water toward the exit, but it's frozen over. Where there was once water, there's only a layer of ice. Thankfully, you remember not to panic. You remember what happened to your friends. Slowly, steadily, you use your tools to break through the hole into the surface at night. It's the next day. It's been about 11 hours since you went inside. 2 of your friends are dead and you did it all for nothing. The government bans diving into the cave for a month, while an international team recovers the dead divers within a month. Eventually, the Plura Grada caves are reopened to the public, but you swear you'll never step foot near them again. A streak of bad luck took the lives of 2 otherwise perfectly prepped professionals. Now let's look at an accident so tragic it changed the way an entire nation views cave diving forever. The year is 1938, and in Allendale East, a man driving a team of horses stumbles into a tiny 30-centimeter opening in the middle of a field. The man tries to fill the hole, but it appears to be bottomless. Eventually, human nature gets the better of him and the people around him. Their poking, prodding, and digging soon turns this tiny hole into a 1-meter hole that reveals a gigantic sinkhole right under their feet. They call this sinkhole the shaft. Now you see, not to be outdone by biology, Australia's biology decided to throw its hat into the ring on this one. This shaft is one of many such sinkholes in the south part of the country, which we call solution features, or by their Dark Souls boss name,
Karst the Fractured.
We don't know how these are created. Oh, what the fuck?
Actually, we do. Karsts happen when limestone rock is packed so tightly in the earth it fractures, so groundwater pours through the...
Holy crap, dude, are you okay?
Just a few lacerations. Now, where was I? Right, fractures. So, the limestone develops all sorts of fractures that let the groundwater seep through over a millennia of rainfall. Eventually, they just fall apart. And, oh, is that antiseptic? That's so nice of you. I've really cut myself real bad. Oh my God!
Fast forward to May 1973, and 9 divers decide to cave dive into the shaft. Well, 8 divers and 1 really rational group member that just decided to stick around by the entrance and provide that moral support. Now, unlike the Plura Grada cave, conditions in the shaft were nowhere near as ideal. The water wasn't freezing, sure, but the silt-filled waters reduced visibility by a lot. What's worse, the shaft wasn't very well mapped. By the 1960s, divers had only gotten about 21 meters down, but people just couldn't leave it alone. Something about dark unknown places really tickets our monkey brains, I guess. In fact, we don't even know how far it goes to this day. Of course, it helped that the divers were pretty experienced, having gone diving into the shaft multiple times, but a few critical mistakes turned the dive into a tragedy. Picture this. 8 divers get together. John H. Bockerman, Peter S. Burr, Christine M. Millett, Glenn Millett, Stephen Millett, Larry Reynolds, Gordon G. Roberts, and Robert J. Smith. They did all their prep work and even agreed to aim for a rock pile about 46 meters down the shaft. That was as far as they were willing to go. Everyone in the team agreed. Nobody leaves the light. So they extended their shot line, filled their tanks, and dove right in. But there's one small oversight. There's no helium inside the air tanks. Do you know why that's a bad thing?
Because it stops the nitrogen in the gas tanks from turning narcotic.
And that's bad because...
I'm not talking to you, you psychopath.
When you go deep enough underwater, the pressure causes nitrogen to go all loopy, developing what we call
an altered state of consciousness called nitrogen narcosis. That's a Greek word, which stems from the word numbness. Essentially, you get high, but not that good Jimi Hendrix kind of high or trippy Joe Rogan kind of high. You just kind of drift off like you're on benzos and...
Simply put, you forget you're in danger, lose your sense of direction, and massively overestimate your own capabilities, often causing you to venture even deeper where the symptoms get worse. The symptoms can start as early as 10 meters deep with some mild euphoria, with deadly overconfidence hitting you at the 30-meter mark. Unfortunately for the other divers, this is exactly what happened. And what's worse, you don't even know it. Smith, being more experienced than the others, realized it and headed back toward the surface. Thankfully, Glenn Millett also noticed that something was wrong. He tried tapping Christine on the arm to let her know that they were running out of air, but he lost her in the silt. Heading back to the surface, they found Pete Burr and Larry Reynolds already waiting for him, having just run out of air. But 4 of the divers were still down there. Glenn Millett ran to the rescue, picking up a spare oxygen tank. He dove as deep as he could, but couldn't find anyone. By the time he was forced to surface, he knew the others were as good as dead. The survivors soon saw Christine Millett and Gordon Roberts trying to rush back to the surface, While Reynolds tried to signal with his flashlight, they were too panicked to figure out where to go in the silt-filled waters and ended up trapping themselves in a small cave with no exit. Soon after, their air ran out and they drowned while holding on to each other for solace. We don't know what exactly happened to snuff out John Bockerman's life, but he was found 6 meters further than anyone else. He was most likely suffering from severe nitrogen narcosis and didn't know he was in danger until it was too late. Similarly, Stephen Millett was found trapped under an overhang, just 15 meters deep. He was killed by an air embolism, where his lung collapsed as he tried to hold his breath while coming up way too fast. 4 divers died that day in the shaft. The coroner's report read, "Lack of air with terminal drowning." Over the course of a year, multiple diving teams recover the bodies of the 4 dead divers. Some of the rescue crew nearly drown in the process themselves. But these deaths aren't for nothing. The coverage this tragedy receives, along with other accidents across Australia in similar conditions, results in the creation of the Cave Divers Association of Australia in 1974. With its help in standardizing processes and training divers, the number of cave diving tragedies is reduced significantly across the country. At least all this horror did some good. But this last case is just a lonely death for someone just looking for a dash of adventure.
Who is this?
Come on, let's go.
Can I bring Asuka?
Sure, buddy. Just 6 miles out of Cougar Store in South Africa, you can find the Streckfontein Caves. A complex cave system made from igneous rock festooned with all sorts of cool geological formations. But that's not the coolest thing about it.
The coolest part is the cradle of humankind. They called it that because anthropologists kept finding fossil remains of early hominids there.
That's right. The 2 biggest discoveries that support the idea that humanity arose in Africa were actually found there. The skull of an Australopithecus called Mrs. Pless in 1947.
And in 1992, the near-intact skeleton of an Australopithecus. They called him Littlefoot.
That's right. By 2013, anthropologists had found 1,200 additional fossil specimens that we're still untangling to this day. But that's not that kind of video, is it?
No. Hey, we're in pretty deep. You're not gonna dump me in here, are you?
Oh, no. We're past that. Besides, you can go back up that path whenever you want, see?
What path?
What do you mean? It's right. Oh, no. While we're waiting for rescue, we might as well pass the time. You see, the actor in this tragic tale was Peter Verhassel. Verhassel was also a trained diver, and his mission was to gauge the depth of the Milner Hall Lake in the Sterkfontein Chambers. Unfortunately for Peter, he was also the rookie of the team and, unable to keep up, was soon left behind. So imagine you're Peter. You're lagging behind. But you've got a guideline to follow. It's not going anywhere, so you decide to explore some interesting side tunnels. Now that's pretty reckless already. Your colleagues tell you to stop doing that once, twice, as you drift further and further away. On the 3rd time, they can't even find you. You've finally taken one wrong turn too many and you're totally, hopelessly lost. Also, your air has run out. And at the end of the tunnel, inside a cave, you see a sandy little island high enough to keep you from drowning. You climb on top of it and, knowing you can't swim back, you wait. Alone, in the total darkness, with no sense of time or direction or even a morsel of food. All you can do is shout for...
Help! Help!
Eventually, you're so tired, you drift off to sleep. Hours pass. Then you wake up. There's a noise. Is that a rescue team? No, there's no one. But you can't swim your way out. And you don't know where you are, so all you can do is wait. Hunger comes and goes in waves, gnawing at you. Time doesn't exist in this palace. The darkness claws at your sanity. You wait, and at times you scream, but your voice can't carry in this place. Do you know how long it takes to starve to death?
20 days? We can last 20 days. That's 3 weeks. They'll find us in 3 weeks.
Peter lasted that long too. People looked for him for 6 whole weeks. They found his emaciated body reduced down to bones. He was long dead by then. Only left one message behind. I love you, Shirl and Ma.
Do you think we should leave something behind? If they, you know.
Sure, why not? That'll do. That'll do.